Hello, everyone. Welcome back inside the Three Crows Studios in lovely Morristown, Tennessee. This is Two Guys Talking Baseball. As always, I am Dallas Danger, joined by my esteemed colleague and best friend in the whole world, Brian Logan. Brian, you got your Reds gear on today. Easy for me to say.
It was a great week for baseball again.
I don't even get a question out anymore. I say his name, and it's like I put a nickel in him. You know?
That's right. You were saying, sir.
Yeah, it has been a good week. We've got some things to talk about. We're going to focus largely on Players Weekend, which is like one of the coolest weekends of the year as far as the baseball season goes. We got a lot of thoughts on some of the fun that was had over the weekend, but we've got big news right out of the gate. We are finally on all your favorite podcast streaming platforms. So we're going to continue to do the video version of the show on our YouTube channel. So if you've been enjoying that, there's no reason to switch it up. But if you want to listen to us in your car, if you just prefer Apple or Spotify or iHeartRadio or any of the other many options out there, you can hear us on all of those now. We apologize for taking so long to get on those, but as we kind of laid out, I think it was last week, this is a mom and pop production company. We're real shoestring, and we're just doing the best we can, and we appreciate you listening no matter where. And Brian was really excited to finish up some renovations, so to speak, on the website, Brian.
Yeah, we've got some really cool features added now. Anywhere you listen to your podcasting, you can text message us directly. Click on the link of send us a message, and it'll text us directly, and we can have answer your questions or just give you a shout out. Let us know that you're out there, and we'll receive that on our phone. So that's a really cool added feature that I'm really looking forward to having everybody interact with us.
Yeah, and it can be anything. If you just want to say hi, if you want to talk about, if you see something happen in a game and you want to talk to us about it, then we'll talk to you about it. We love talking about baseball, obviously. We wouldn't be doing this podcast if we didn't. So, that's a cool feature that we found when we got back on the streaming platforms that was not an option for us 2 years ago. So, but the website looks really good, and we've got everything you need, all the information now at 2gtb.com.
Yeah, you can go there and you can click on the internet page icon in the big up in the right-hand corner, and that'll take you directly to the store. Also, all of our social media links there and our Patreon link. So if you want to go to 2gtb.com, you can literally get connected with us or anything you would need that's Two Guys Talking Baseball.
Yeah, that's the hub now, as it should be. But, again, it took us a little while to get set up and ready there, but we are, and we're excited about it, and making it a little easier for you to tell your friends about the show, and a little easier for people to find us, hopefully.
Yeah.
As we go along here, and we're really committed to making this last long term. This go round, we did 11 episodes in 2022, and just sort of quit. There's not really a reason or an excuse to give. We just didn't continue doing it, and we want to, we've been talking recently off air, Brian and I have, about the excitement of, next season, because we've never done this show through an entirety of a regular season.
Yeah, I can't wait.
So we're looking forward to covering an entire year. We're also really kind of excited about the prospects of the off season. We've decided, after talking about it, we are going to keep this, probably a weekly show during the off season. There's going to be some things to talk about, but we're also going to try to maybe watch some old games, come up with some topics around the current events that we can kind of get out in left field a little bit, so to speak, and still come to you and talk baseball every week, because if you're anything like me, December, January rolls around and you're starving for baseball content. So we don't want you to starve. We're going to feed you year round.
I'm excited about watching some of the classic games. some of the series. I mean, I'm recently, I've been watching the American League Championship Series from 1978, the Yankees and the Royals.
Yeah, I caught a little bit of what was it, Game 3 we were watching
Game 3
before we came up to the studio today, and it's a lot of fun to go back and watch those games. I think for me the biggest thing is how jarring the difference. A lot of the differences are in the game in 78 to the game now.
Yeah, it's totally night and day.
It is night and day, and I don't want to get too far into that now because I think that's something we'll address in the offseason when we watch some of these games and do the reviews and all that. But we got a lot of things we're mulling around. I think today we're gonna shoot at least one new special segment for the Patreon.
Yes.
I'll talk to you about that a little bit later on as we leave you and give you all the fun info that we give at the end of the episode, how to support us, how to talk to us. But so a lot of exciting things going on in the 2GTB world and the Three Crows Entertainment world. If you're into good old rock and roll, I'm actually doing a radio show. Three Crows is kind of producing that as well, and it's called The Danger Zone, and it's Tuesday nights at 11, and get me on social media at Dallas Danger to get all the info about where to listen there. It's totally online, so it's easy to listen from anywhere. And we're doing a lot, and we're really excited to be. It's funny, we've talked a lot the last week or so, especially Three Crows Entertainment when I first came on board 6 years ago or so.
Yeah.
It was very much a video-based company.
Yeah.
And now we're doing a ton of audio. Audio is kind of our wheelhouse now, and we were terrible at audio back then.
When we first started, the audio was like our Waterloo, man. We could not get it right, so to speak. We couldn't get it synced up right and everything. And now that's what we're doing, and we've got it down.
Yeah, it's gone from our Waterloo to our wheelhouse. I mean,
yes,
it really has.
Very eloquently stated.
Yeah, every squirrel finds a nut. But anyways, Brian, with all that said, let's get into it and let's talk some Cubs baseball.
Okay, man. The Cubs are the Cubs, and they're strange. It's like the wind at Wrigley. It can change any minute. What was it last week? I was saying the season's over, and now we're in second place, and we're got a shot at the wild card.
Yeah, within shouting distance.
Shouting distance. So if we keep it up, then we've got a shot. They say that's what they're saying on the TV. They're saying we've got a shot at it. So the pitching since June 27th has been in the bullpen has been really, really good, and so that's what it takes. That was our problem early in the season, was our bullpen was letting it go. Now we still have to manufacture more runs because we're losing by 1 or 2 runs every night that we'd lose.
Right.
So, but we've traded off almost all of the pitchers. I think there's 2 pitchers left from opening day, and it's a whole new bullpen, and they're all the best bullpen in baseball right now. But we just got to manufacture more runs. Yeah.
Well, okay, so I'm looking at the wild card standings as they sit right now while we're recording. The Cubs are 5.5 out of a wild card spot. Directly in front of them are the Cardinals and the Giants.
Yeah.
Without looking at the schedule, I imagine they'll play the Cardinals some more, being divisional rivals. And the Cardinals and Giants are not really good teams.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not bad teams per se, but if the Cubs get a little hot, they're half a game behind the Cardinals, they're 2 games behind the Giants. I can look at that and go, okay, I can believe they can leapfrog those 2.
Yeah.
Then you've got Mets, Braves, Padres, Diamondbacks.
That's going to be tough.
And you've just got to leapfrog 2 of those 4. The Braves are reeling. They're still pretty good. Don't get me wrong. They're a good team that's just having some struggles. And the Mets, who are the Mets? We don't really know. They've yet to really cement themselves as a contender, but they're right there, you know. So it's kind of like Dumb and Dumber. So you're saying there's a chance?
Yeah. There's a chance. I mean, this is a long shot. They were talking last night. JD and Boog was talking about, as long as we take 2 out of every 3, then we're fine. Well, isn't that the whole point of the whole season?
Here's the thing. The best team in the league right now, which is the Dodgers, who we'll talk about at length here in a minute, their win percentage is .594. Nobody's winning 2 out of every 3.
Yeah.
Nobody. Like on the season, nobody's winning 2 out of 3.
Yeah.
And generally, there's at least a team or two that's like they're going to win 100 games. Their winning percentage is over 600. There's just those teams just don't exist right now. And that is largely the parity in the game that is what is keeping the Cubs within shouting distance of a playoff spot right now.
Yeah.
And it proves that, I hate saying anything remotely close to this because it's not what I believe in. It's not why I love the game of baseball. But April through July, as long as you're not so bad that you White Sox yourself and you're mathematically eliminated in August, you just got to keep yourself within shouting distance. And right now is when we're going to find out who's going into the playoffs hot.
Right.
And if that's the Cubs, if they get hot right now, they're in.
Yeah.
They leapfrog those teams and they get in. I mean, it's that simple because all those teams are playing well enough to be in contention, but aren't that good of ball clubs.
Right.
But with the expanded playoffs and the number of teams that get in now, we're looking at the most teams having a shot at this juncture that I think we've had in a long time without going back and doing the research and really knowing. It feels like this is still anybody's season.
Yeah.
And, that includes the Cubs.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of exciting, but then if you watch them every day, I mean, reality has to set in. I'm not, disenfranchised against them. I'm just being realistic. I would love to see them get on a tear and get a wild card. I just don't know if it's there. I just don't know if we have every day like we should for the rest of the season.
I don't know that the pieces are quite there yet.
They're not.
I mean, there are some good pieces. I mean, there's a foundation there that they're trying to build around. They're just not building around it yet.
Yeah.
And, and by the time they start building around the current foundation, where is Bellinger playing?
Right.
Where is Dansby Swanson playing? I don't remember his contract situation. They just don't have a lot of guys inked up that long.
No, they don't. And then, Neely came in the game. It was his debut from the trade, and he did not do well. He did not do well at all. I was very disappointed in what he showed out there. I thought he would be better, the way they touted him coming in. But that's what we've been doing all season is we've been, saying one thing and then we go out and do maybe the opposite and then we'll do the opposite of that for a while. It's just very inconsistent is the Cubs situation.
Yeah, Jack Neely, he's 24 years old. He's a tree, 6'8", 245.
Yeah, he looks great. He looks impressive.
But he's that was his first game in the majors this year.
Yeah.
He came over as a prospect, so,
what can you expect him to really
Sure,
do? He looked nervous, and he probably was.
Well, yeah, major league debut, and a lot of pitchers, especially relievers, get roughed up the first time they come up, It's just part of it. So, maybe he takes some licks and becomes a valuable piece for them, drafted by the Yankees. He was drafted in 21, so he made it to the majors pretty quickly.
Yeah.
All things considered, 3 years is I mean, I would at least say that's average. That's an average path to the major leagues, at least historically. Nowadays, if you're good, you can cut that in half or less.
Yeah.
Paul Skeens went from a number 1 draft pick to starting the All-Star game in a year. So,
yeah.
The path is shorter now if you have the stuff. But there are still opportunities for guys that take a few more years, a little bit longer in the minor leagues. And the Cubs, especially in that bullpen, like you've said, since the end of June, best bullpen ERA in the majors, and that was their biggest issue.
Right.
Most of the year.
So they did fix that problem.
Yeah.
So that's good, but there's so many other issues that are popping up, and it's not like they're popping up like big time. They're just rearing their ugly head every now and then.
Sure.
So it's hard to, if it was whack-a-mole, it'd be hard to get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's just the nature of the game with the Cubs. They're the lovable losers, and the friendly confines is friendly because it's, we're not usually in it. You had said something a couple of shows ago, or maybe last show, that since 2016, everybody's put more on the Cubs. Maybe we put more on the Cubs as a fandom than we should.
Yeah, and I think that's part of it too. Is the expectation is recalibrating for the Cubs. At least from the perspective of the fans.
Yeah.
And I think that's healthy. I think that's good because, this is not a team that's going to go out and spend every year.
No.
It's just not, and I think expecting them to is not reasonable.
Yeah.
Because even when they were winning, they won with a boatload of homegrown talent that they weren't paying that much, that had a lot of team control. Then as that team control dwindles down, Rizzo becomes a Yankee. Baez goes to the Mets. Chris Bryant leaves. All these things happen, and I don't think it's something where you can't look at the timing of it and blame that on the Cubs.
Yeah.
Because they had to make a lot of really tough decisions at the same time on guys, and Chris Bryant, they made the right decision.
Absolutely.
Javi Baez, they made the right decision.
Right.
Because those guys are getting paid a lot of money to be completely fucking irrelevant right now.
Yeah.
Javi Baez is one of the worst rated hitters in the world this year.
Speaking of Javi, he did return to Wrigley Field.
And they gave him a good return.
Gave him a great return. Actually, it was perfect for me because we celebrated him. He was on the pregame show showing his new glove, which was awesome. It was purple and gold. But they gave him a standing ovation when he came to bat, and then he struck out 4 times. So it was perfect.
Yeah.
He didn't hurt us. But welcome home.
That's Javi Baez. You remember his time with the Cubs fondly, and you look at him now and you go, how is he on a major league roster?
Oh, I know. And he just swings at everything. Everything.
You can throw it into the stands, and he's going to try to get a hold of it.
Yeah.
Why ever throw him anything in the strike zone?
The kid that always, like, the ball would go too high and he'd throw the bat up to try to hit it. That's what I see Javi doing. The bat up in the air. And
I love it. I love that they put El Mago on his locker.
Yeah, that was cool.
Awesome. That's a cool little thing that, like, you've got to be a class organization to think about, and then the Cubs are obviously a class organization,
definitely.
and we've said what we've said about their front office here, and that was, that was literally on an episode that we titled Midseason Frustration. I think everybody at a certain level in a long season gets those frustrations, no matter how. Good Lord. Look at Dodger Twitter right now.
Yeah.
Best record in baseball, just had got all the big names back, and people are still freaking out and calling for people to get fired and DFA'd and shit. And it's ridiculous,
Well, I feel bad for going off on Jed Hoyer like that. I'm not apologizing. I just feel bad for him, that it got out there.
Well, listen, he fixed the bullpen.
Yeah, he did fix the bullpen. That's true.
And that, if at the trade deadline I had asked you what's the one thing you want the Cubs to address, you'd have probably said the bullpen.
Absolutely, and he did that. So.
And they retooled the whole group, and it paid off.
Yeah.
Now they just can't score runs, and that's
the frustration of it. If we were losing 10-0, then okay. But we're losing by 1 run, like a lot of 1-0s or 2-0s and something like that. It's frustrating that we can't get the runs across.
Yeah, and as we talk about the parity and the number of teams that have a shot at making the playoffs, and we transition into the Dodgers, Dave Roberts said post-game, either last night or the night before, we're in playoff mode.
Yeah.
He was like, I'll be honest, I'm in playoff mode already. And the environments are playoff environments. We're playing really meaningful baseball all across the league, in August.
Yeah.
In the middle of August, getting towards the end of August now. And if you can't win those close games, you're hurting right now.
Yeah.
Because you have to win close games.
Yeah, I mean, it's a must at this time of year. It's nut cutting time. You've got to win the close ones.
And again, we're not seeing teams run away with divisions. So getting started on the Dodgers this week. Last year, the Dodgers won the NL West by 15 games. The year before, they won by 22 games.
Yeah.
We currently have a 4-game lead, and that's as comfortable as it's been in probably 10 days.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a much different league than it was even 1 year ago. Mm-hmm. And I think that's good. I think it's healthy for the game of baseball. But I'll be honest, the Dodgers are really starting to come together at the right time. We have dealt with more injuries, statistically speaking. Don't at me. Statistically speaking, we have dealt with more impactful injuries than any other team.
Okay.
We have the best record in the majors.
Yeah.
And that's a testament to this organization. It's a testament to the coaching staff and Dave Roberts. And it's a testament to the guys on the field.
Yeah.
That they're still going out there and getting the job done. And, Muncy has come back and is tearing the cover off the ball. Mookie came back, a week or so ago, and he looks like he never left.
Yeah.
No rehab start.
Yeah.
Hadn't played in an actual game in 2 months.
Picked up right where he left off.
And it's like he was never gone.
Yeah.
Tommy Edman has made some real impact plays already and gotten some hits and been a real, a game changer at the bottom of that lineup. And he's playing shortstop and center field. He's playing very, very premier positions and doing it at a high level.
Yeah.
Kevin Kiermaier, speaking of center field, has come in and he's hit the ball a little bit, but man, don't hit the ball anywhere near him. He's a vacuum cleaner out there.
Yeah, he's doing great out there in center.
4-time Gold Glover and talking about retiring at the end of this year, he has not missed a beat out there.
Yeah.
I mean, he's great, And everybody started talking. Kiermaier gets hot, and everybody says, well, I guess the odd man out is Hayward because Chris Taylor's coming off the IL, tomorrow, I think, soon. And we don't have a spot for it. And
what a great problem to have.
What a problem to have, yeah. I mean, the issue is if they want Taylor back on the roster before September 1st, somebody's got to go.
Yeah.
And I think in an ideal world, you want all those options September 1st when the rosters expand and you have room for everybody. Then you can go, okay, guys, go out there and earn your playoff roster spot.
Yeah.
So, I think somebody is going to wink, have some back tightness.
Yeah.
Or arm's going to get sore or,
conveniently.
Take 10 days off, get some rest, and we'll see you on September 1st when the rosters expand. And I think Hayward is a good candidate for that because he's a little older. He's had some ailments in the past, and he's the type of guy that you can let sit for 10 days, bring him off the bench, and he's going to homer.
Absolutely.
He's 4 for 8 as a pinch hitter this year with 2 home runs.
Yeah.
Both times he's had IL stints this year, he's come back and hit a homer the first game.
Yeah.
The other night he hits the eventual game winner out of the park, and he hadn't been in a game in several days. So he's a good candidate. If wink, wink, nudge, nudge, that's your move. And I think it should be because I don't think you can afford to get rid of anybody on this roster right now. But Chris Taylor deserves the right to come back and have a shot to earn a spot on the playoff roster.
Yeah.
He's a guy you're committed to multiple years contractually. He's a guy that we have seen over and over in October can get the job done for you at the plate. And he's valuable as a bench piece because of his flexibility. He's a guy you can put anywhere on the diamond, and he's going to play, serviceable defense at the very worst. He's also said while he's been out with injury, it's given him time to fix his swing, which was a big issue early in the year. Chris Taylor, for those of you that aren't really aware, has a really complicated swing. There's a lot of elements to it, so he gets off mechanically kind of easily, or at least more easily than your average guy who swings the same all the time. And, sometimes he just needs to take a minute and figure out what's going on mechanically and fix that. And he says that he's had time to do that. So I'm excited to see what he brings to the table. Because if he can come up and be serviceable too, I mean, they're gonna really be pulling their hair outs in that room, figuring out who makes this roster in October.
Oh yeah, they're gonna have some problems with too much talent. I mean, and we laugh and joke, but that's a real problem. They'll have too much.
Yeah, well, you've got you have to at the end of the day put the team out there that gives you the best shot to win. Mm-hmm. And that's what the Dodgers are doing right now, is trying to figure out what that looks like. Who are those 26 guys that give you the best shot to win a playoff series? And, I don't know the answers. I think between Kiermaier, Jason Hayward, Chris Taylor, and Kike Hernandez, there's a case to be made for and against all those guys.
Yeah.
At this point. If Taylor comes in and hits the ball really well, he puts the pressure on. If Kevin Kiermaier continues to hit a little bit, he puts some pressure on. Kike is a really good bench player and a really good situational hitter. He's not an everyday guy. He doesn't succeed at the plate all the time. But if you bring him in with a couple guys on base in a real crucial situation against a left-hander or even a right-hander that's having trouble finding the zone that you're expecting to throw some, obvious strikes, Kike can give you a big hit. Kike can give you a home run and the lead in a big spot and swing momentum, the pendulum of momentum a certain way, the way you want it to go, right? Mm-hmm. So these are all guys that have something to offer. It's just figuring out, right now in this moment, who gives you the best shot. And I love Jason Hayward. He's been a great addition to this clubhouse.
Yeah, he's great.
Most of what he brings to the table for this team, he can do from an inactive roster spot.
Okay.
Most of what he brings to the table, if he's on the injured list or he's not on the active roster, but he can still be in the clubhouse and in the dugout, that's what you get from Jason Hayward, is that leadership and that guidance and that demeanor. He just, the way he carries himself is an example for younger players, less experienced players. And again, he knows exactly what it takes to win a ring. He's not just a guy that was on the team. Mm-hmm. He has that famous speech in the rain delay.
Rally the
troops, man, and got them a World Series victory. So, as you said, a good problem to have. But, the Dodgers just came home, played 3 games with the Mariners against 3 really, really good starting pitchers.
Yeah.
Best ERA staff in all of the majors in the Mariners, and swept them and got big hits in big situations against really good pitching. And that is so encouraging to see, because this is not your usual Dodgers of the last few years where they are the best team in those big spots, because they haven't been. Yeah. They've been very average to mediocre with runners in scoring position, with 2 outs, with 2 strikes. Those are the stats that we're starting to see them turn and do what we're used to the Dodgers doing, and that is hit very well with runners in scoring position, very well with 2 outs, very well with 2 strikes. You add all those 3 together, and they get even better.
Right.
And that's what this team looks like now. And that is largely due to the fact that this team looks on paper like we thought they would for maybe the first time all year, or at least in months. This has not been a squad on the field and in the lineup all year long. I mean, the depth of this roster has been challenged, and I think the team has risen to that challenge largely because, again, with all those injuries, with everything that's gone on, best record in the majors and getting better.
Yeah, and doing that without the total, group. You taking, what was it, like 6 guys out at one time?
Well, I mean, it was double that.
Yeah.
If you look at the whole roster and, everything going on, I mean, we've had, we have lost more WAR to injury than any other team, and it's not close.
Yeah.
And I don't want to chew my food, 2-3 times because we've talked about that, but it's just the truth, and it's part of the context of this Dodger season. And again, shut up about Dave Roberts. He's doing an immaculate job with this, and despite everything, he's getting wins out of this team. And while we had all those guys out, we weren't winning 60% of our games, but we were treading water.
Yeah.
We were keeping, the other teams in the division at bay, and the lead got down to 2.5 games, but we didn't lose the lead.
Yeah.
I'd still rather be ahead by 2 games than not, than be second place 2 games behind.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that's just how it goes. So really encouraged, really like the makeup of this team, and from Dave Roberts himself, we're in playoff mode.
And it shows that they are really just kicking it in. They were good all season. Now they're really kicking it in.
Oh yeah.
Going down 4-0 and making a comeback and winning the game. I mean, just dominating.
Yeah, playing really good baseball. Doing it largely without Shohei's bat. I know when he's got hits, they've been impactful hits. But he's batting under 200 the last little bit. Teoscar has not been himself lately. But Mookie coming back and hitting well. Freddie doing what Freddie does. Gavin Lux is now the Gavin Lux we thought we were getting in 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Finally. And that's not a dig on him. He has gone through so much adversity and overcome it now and figured things out. And he's hitting for average. He's hitting for power. He's hitting in clutch situations. He's doing all the things that we believed he could do. And here's the thing. He came up so young. He's still, I don't know that he's 25, 26. I mean, he's still got a long time and is going to be a good ball player, be a good major leaguer. And we finally reached, and he's been good for so long now. This isn't a fluke or a streak. This is who Gavin Lux is. And when he hits he's going to slump. We hope he doesn't do it in October. But when he hits that hole again, he now has this huge foundation to get out of it. Right. And that's important. So, Max Muncy's back, and he's hitting 7th in the order.
Yeah, that's
Max
wow.
Muncy is your 7 hitter.
Yeah, that's incredible, right?
Who else going in October has that?
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's just stacked all the way through.
And I know there's probably somebody hearing this going, well, they're going to choke in October again. It's just what they do. And maybe they do. But here's the thing. They're putting the best team they can out there and giving themselves the best shot to win. Mm-hmm. And as a fan, that's all I can ask.
Right.
The guys don't show up in October. It happens. It's happened to us the last couple years.
Yeah.
The guys you need in October just haven't shown up. But this team, and I say this over and over again every single week, this team was built not for August, not for April. It was built for October. Mm-hmm. So this is a team of guys that when they're right, when they're healthy, those are the situations they thrive in. Mm-hmm. And they want to be in those situations. Teoscar Hernandez wants to be at the plate with the bases loaded in a tie game, 2 outs in the 9th. He lives for that.
Yeah, he does.
Mookie Betts wants to be up there. Shohei wants to be up there. Freddie wants to be up there. I'd say now Gavin Lux wants that opportunity. Mm-hmm. He wants to show this is the real Gavin Lux. There's a lot of guys on that roster. Max Muncy, good grief. Max Muncy's right at home in that situation, and that's what this team is built for. You know, and I haven't talked much about the pitching, but the pitching is doing better, getting there. I feel a lot better about our options and the fact that we have them going into October, at least how things sit right now. You know, the last couple years, it's been like, well, these are the 4 guys because these have to be the 4 guys in the rotation. But there's not a Lance Lynn getting a start in October this year like there was last year.
Yeah.
It's just not happening, you know. I mean, Kershaw has come back and been vintage. You know, you get rid of that start in San Diego, it's been vintage Kershaw. And I think that was just, you know, every starter, especially coming back from a shoulder surgery, the first surgery of that, you know, magnitude they've had in their career, they're going to have a clunker or two. And Kershaw, maybe as much as anybody in all of Major League Baseball, has earned and deserves the right to get through those clunkers and have a spot, you know.
What about Buehler? What about his return?
Man, here's the thing. I like Walker Buehler a lot. If he is going to pitch for the Dodgers in October, it's going to be out of the bullpen.
Yeah.
And I don't know at what point they explore that in practice. Do they leave? I mean, right now you have to leave him in the rotation at least till Glasnow gets back. I mean, you don't have to, but it makes the most sense to just let him kind of tread water as a starter. Mm-hmm. But at some point, I think the bullpen doors are going to open and Walker Buehler is going to come out.
Yeah.
And I loved, you know, dipshit reporter in the middle of him talking about his struggles right now and trying to figure it out and coming off of, you know, missing 2 years on a second Tommy John surgery. Oh, hey, what about the fact that you're a free agent? And Buehler said, there's nothing to talk about. You talk about free agency when you have a 2.5 and you're running through the league.
Yeah.
I have a 6 ERA right now.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out how to get guys in the big leagues out, and this was the exact quote. He said, that's all I give a fuck about right now.
Yeah. There you go.
Sorry, that's not a better story for the morning beat tomorrow, but it's the truth. I mean, how many teams do you think are going to offer him a big contract right now? Not one.
No.
Not one. He's getting an opportunity next year. Whether will that be with the Dodgers, yet to be determined. But he's not getting the big contract anymore. He's getting an opportunity next year.
Yeah.
And frankly, if he doesn't get much better this year, he'll be lucky to get that. Because the thing with Walker is that he has always been known for that high heat fastball. He doesn't have that anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, guys are literally taking 2 breaking pitches in the strike zone because they're sitting fastball because they know they can hit it if he throws it in the strike zone. He's got to learn how to be a different pitcher than he's been in the past, and I think that's the crux of the issue with Walker Buehler is he can't go out there and do what he's always done. He has to learn a new way to do it. Now, he's in a great environment for that because he can sit next to Clayton Kershaw every day. Mm-hmm. And Kershaw has been the master of that. Because Kershaw was the same type of pitcher at first. He'd just blow it past you.
Right.
But over time, he loses velocity. He's always had that great curveball, but then he adds the slider, you know.
Yeah.
And that slider is a Hall of Fame slider, you know. And so now he's throwing different grips with his pitches, you know, and he's doing so many different things that he didn't always do. And that's just the art of pitching. Is understanding you can't do it the same way every day.
Yeah.
You got to take stuff, you got to take a little bit off stuff, you got to approach different lineups and different hitters, you know, uniquely and to their game plan and to the way they swing the bat. And Buehler he's just got to figure that out.
Yeah.
And I think he will. Mostly because he's a really hard-headed dude.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to take no for an answer.
And that's good. He shouldn't.
And if that means he's a clunker the rest of this year and he's got to go to Japan or Korea or indie ball, I think he'll do it.
Yeah.
Because I think there's a belief there. Mm-hmm. I think there's an internal belief with Walker Buehler that he can get back to being a really, really good pitcher in the big leagues. And obviously that's what he wants. Right. So, you know, it might take some time. It might take some more, you know, adversity in addition to what he's already faced. But, coming off of Tommy John is tough. And not a lot of guys come back and in their first season back are really good.
Yeah.
It takes them some time, because you have to trust that arm can do what you need it to do. And there's a real mental aspect. I mean, he didn't pitch for 2 years in a big league game. 2 years.
Yeah. That's
hard.
That's a long time.
Earlier in the season, everybody was bitching about Gavin Lux. He's never going to be anything. We've been through this experiment and it failed. He missed all of last season, all of the year last year. It just takes some time, even for the best of the best, to get back where they need to be.
Yeah.
And I think Buehler will get there, but man, if he pitches for the Dodgers in October, I firmly believe it's going to be out of the bullpen.
Yeah.
And I think he's open to that. Mm-hmm. I don't think he'll reject that idea, but I mean, he's sort of, and we've gone from a lot of question marks to he's like the one big question mark right now. At least internally, the national broadcast last weekend. Oh, Tyler Glasnow's back on the IL. Well, Tyler Glasnow was like, "Look, I feel fine.
Yeah,
it's all precautionary." And I think the general consensus from the Dodger fan base was if it was October, he'd have pitched. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. Buehler, I love him. I want him to do well. Obviously, I want him to do well for the Dodgers, but. He's kind of the one guy right now that's really, really struggling and trying to figure out a way to get on the postseason roster.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it the other day. He was it 2 nights ago that Buehler was got into it with the umpire for a little bit, little schmoz there, and Dave come running out.
Good old CB Buckner.
Yeah, Dave was to the rescue, brother. He was sprinting.
Yeah, now that Angel Hernandez is gone, CB Buckner might be the worst.
Oh, he's so inconsistent.
He's terrible. He's terrible. But yeah, in summation, I feel really good about the Dodgers, and I'm excited to see how the rest of the season goes because things seem to be falling into place at the absolute right time.
Yeah. I think they're heading that way. I mean, they're dressed for the part and they know what they're doing.
All right, so the big topic this week is going to be Players Weekend. We love Players Weekend. I'm glad they brought it back. In the past, the gimmick for Players Weekend has been the players get to pick what goes on the back of their jersey. Nicknames, funny things that nobody understands. We've gotten a lot of fun, situations out of that. A lot of nicknames have come to light that way, too. Nicknames we didn't really know about publicly. Mm-hmm. Then they put them on the jersey, and it's like, oh, what does that mean? Oh, that's what everybody calls me. There you go. This year they didn't do that, but a lot of custom cleats, a lot of custom bats, a lot of fun. From Players Weekend. Brian, tell me some of your takeaways. What did you really enjoy about Players Weekend?
Well, I love the pencils. I thought the pencils looked really great. I mean, they looked really cool. And I love the crayons, especially the one that was painted foul pole yellow.
Yeah, that was Jock Peterson, with the Diamondbacks, had the foul pole yellow crayon bat, which was great. He had the gloves to match and everything.
Yeah, I thought those were great. The cleats were very personalized this year. I know the Cubs had the Mexican players had the Mexican flag on there. A lot of them had their charity work with a lot of cancer kids had their name on there, which was really cool. And then there were the ones where their daughter would paint the shoes themselves. That was really cool. It was the one I saw had flowers all over it, like a garden.
Right. Yeah.
So stuff that you really wouldn't think, but your daughter made it. So that makes it really, really cool.
Yeah, this wasn't Players Weekend, but when Clayton Kershaw pitched his first game off the surgery, he had cleats that the kids had drawn and written on, and it was great, and it had the little, they all drew themselves, so it was the whole family and stick figures and crayon, it was great, and there was a lot of that. Just a really fun weekend, and it was cool all weekend to be on social media and see what the teams were putting out there, pictures and videos and interviews, and the league did a really good job. The league's social media isn't always the best, depending on how you look at it, but they did a good job of covering Players Weekend, and making sure that the really cool stuff got got attention.
Yeah, there were a lot of Scooby-Doo stuff, a lot of, video game type deals, and those were really cool. A lot of people had coffee on their shoes.
I didn't see any of that.
Yeah, a lot of Java.
Yeah.
I know a couple of the Cubs had that. I think,
Yeah.
Well, Ian Happ had it on his.
Well, he sells coffee.
He sells coffee, so that's kind of a no-brainer. But yeah, that was some really cool stuff that we saw there. I mean, I just can't get over the pencil. The pencil's my favorite.
Well, ever since they did the aluminum pencil bats a while back, I don't even remember how that came to be. I guess it was a college thing or something. But ever since then, the pencil bat has kind of taken on this whole new. I don't know, man. It's just become its own thing.
Yeah.
So all the pencils and crayons and that was really cool, and it was kind of a theme to it. But there's a lot of interesting stuff. I didn't have this in my notes, but I have it fresh on my mind because we just got the announcement yesterday that the Backyard Sports franchise is back.
Okay.
They have film and TV plans. They're going to release the games again. Mm-hmm. They have a whole new strategy for this property. And when I was growing up, Backyard Sports was big. It was a computer game where basically the stars of whatever sport, baseball, basketball, football, whatever, game you had, they were playing as kids in the backyard.
Yeah.
And part of that was also there were kids on the game, like made up characters. Mm-hmm. And if you know anything about these games, you know the name Pablo Sanchez. He's the king of backyard sports, just a world beater in every sport. You wanted him on your team no matter which backyard game you were playing. And very cool and very ahead of its time because one of the gimmicks of Pablo's character is he doesn't speak any English. Okay. He's a Spanish speaker. And, in an American game 25, 30 years ago, that just wasn't something you saw very often being celebrated. Mm-hmm. So very cool, very ahead of their time. Bobby Witt Jr. had a Pablo Sanchez bat.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh, my God, that's incredible. So cool. Yeah, so and then, again, yesterday as we're recording, I see on Twitter, Backyard Sports is back. And it's like, man, that's incredible. And I don't know if they had anything to do with the Bobby Witt Jr. thing or if it was just good timing. But if that was on their part to market and get people talking about the franchise, and then immediately after, like the next week,
to make the announcement,
I mean, that was really good marketing. And here's the thing: even if they were like, "Oh, we weren't going to make the announcement yet, but we better do it now," that was a good move. Good move choice by the marketing department handling all that. So, so let's run through some of this stuff that we saw for Players Weekend. I want to get into some specifics.
Okay.
So we'll start Logan O'Hoppe, who we talked about recently because apparently the Cubs wanted him at the trade deadline and couldn't work out a deal. He went to a children's hospital with his chest protector.
Okay.
He's a catcher, and had the kids in the hospital draw on it.
Okay.
Just like here's a marker, draw your name or whatever picture you want. Just draw on my chest protector, including those kids in that experience, and that was so cool.
That is cool.
Wasn't the most fashionable thing worn. It was literally just a chest protector that kids had drawn on, but
very meaningful,
very cool, very meaningful for those kids and for the organizations fighting for those kids.
Yeah.
And, O'Hoppe's a good young player, and that makes me like him a lot, that he took the platform of Players Weekend, and nothing against the guys that did their own thing, because that's what it's all about, is doing whatever moves you individually. Mm-hmm. But for him to take that platform and use it in that way, I thought was very commendable and admirable, and I gained a lot of respect for Logan O'Hoppe.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, and that's something that, very unselfish of him.
Oh, yeah, 100%. And that shouldn't be surprising that a major league catcher did something unselfish when given the opportunity to not,
Absolutely.
And again, that's not taking anything away from what anybody else did, A lot of guys did charity-related stuff, like you said, and that's cool if that's what they wanted to do. But it's also cool if you wanted to have For instance, Toy Story cleats and a bat, like Michael Harris II from the Braves did.
Yeah.
Woody had a Woody bat, and his cleats were like one Woody, one Buzz.
Yeah.
And those were incredible, like super cool. Toy Story rules. It's a great franchise, and that was pretty awesome. Michael Harris is not a player I think about very much, and when I do, it's usually frustrating because I don't really like Atlanta.
Yeah.
And that's just they've been the team in the way of the Dodgers a lot.
Gee, why don't you like Atlanta?
Let's not get started. We won't go down that. Maybe we'll save that for the offseason.
Who do you hate the most in Atlanta?
Okay.
All right, sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I do not like the Atlanta Braves mascot at all. And we're not going to get into that today because we're going to have a fun time talking about Players Weekend. But maybe on another day I'll be fired up enough to tell you why Blooper is the sorriest excuse for a mascot I've ever seen and what Tommy Lasorda would do if he was still alive. But not the time or place for that.
Okay, all right. Not the time nor the place.
We talked about Jock Peterson's foul pole yellow bat. That was on my list. I love Jock. Jock's one of my guys, even though he's on the Diamondbacks now, and played for the Giants before that. He's been a rival a lot the last few years, but and the Braves before that. He's and the Cubs for a little bit.
Yeah,
So
we had him too.
Yeah, he's been a rival.
Yeah.
Really since the moment that it cemented him as one of my guys forever, which was winning the 2020 World Series with the Dodgers. Mm-hmm. Ever since then, he's been a rival.
Yeah.
But I love him. Super cool guy. Outside the box thinker, which I love more than anything because there's so many guys in baseball that are just, a cliche of a human being. They have no personality.
Yeah.
But, love Jock, love that bat. Shohei Ohtani had cleats with Decoy, the dog.
Yes, those were some of the best. I wanted to say that was one of my favorites, but I didn't want to take it away from you.
No, it's okay. Talk about them.
But, they were very cool. The picture was very accurate, very cool, very nice puppy looking. But they were a nice shoe, too. It was right. It was done very, very well.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed those.
Yeah, it's one thing to see the Jordan cleats that like everybody wears.
Yeah.
And then to see him in New Balances. Mm-hmm. It's still kind of jarring when he comes up to the plate and he pulls his hands up with the bat and he's got the New Balance logo on it. It's like New Balance. It's like Clayton Kershaw and Skechers.
Yeah.
They just give Kersh shit for being old with the Skechers thing. Oh, you got the extra support in your shoes. Oh man, it is what it is. But those were really cool, and we love the animals and the dogs, especially here at 2GTB. So love that. They're getting ready to give away the Shohei and Decoy bobblehead.
Oh yeah.
There's gonna be pandemonium in the streets.
Pandalirium.
There's already a few on eBay. If you want one real bad and you got $300, that is 5 times the normal bobblehead price on eBay.
Yeah, I don't know if that'll be in our collection or not.
I don't think so, pal.
No.
Totally unrelated. Patreon.com/2GTB. Go give us some money.
Yeah.
We have made concrete plans to get the bobblehead shelf for the studio.
Yeah, we planned that out, so that won't be too far away.
No,
so that's cool.
Yeah, we're gonna make that happen in the near future, and it won't be on camera, so you'll never get to see it.
That's right. No, we'll show it to them. We'll swing it over. And
it'll be all right. I'm just having fun. Of course, you'll see it if we get it on the wall because we're gonna be really
obnoxious about it.
Not obnoxious, but we're gonna be proud of it.
Yeah, it's gonna be cool.
Yeah,
I got to bring my Christopher Morel up here and put it on the table.
You do, because all we got right now
is our boy Rocky.
It's just Rocky.
Yep, we love him.
If you didn't hear last week's episode, please go back and listen. Meg Hackett, from Rocky's mom, represented the Rocky Foundation and told us all about that, and we loved that. So please go back and listen. But moving on with Players Weekend stuff, I don't think this was necessarily because of Players Weekend. It just happened during Players Weekend, so I wanted to bring it up. So during Fanatics Fest, which was a big sports-related convention in New York, run by Fanatics, who owns everything as far as major sports merchandising now.
Yeah.
A lot of athletes, a lot of WWE stars, it's sort of a who's who type of convention for sports fans. Livy Dunn, Paul Skeens' girlfriend, who is, for now, more famous than he is.
Right.
That gap is closing rapidly.
I was going to say that he's coming up in the rankings very quickly.
I think she's a gymnast and then just kind of became an influencer. I don't know much about her, but she showed up to Fanatics Fest dressed just like Paul Skeens.
Yeah.
Had the hair up in the hat, had the fake mustache on, full uniform, no notes.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing, man. We live in a culture where those influencer girls are expected to show up in like designer clothes and like looking a certain way. And nah, I'm going to dress up like my boyfriend who happens to be a major league pitcher with a Hall of Fame mustache.
Yes. She had to get the mustache over, man. That's what completes the ensemble.
Well, she wouldn't have been him without it.
No, she wouldn't have. I mean, that's his trademark.
Yeah, I mean it's just a part of who he is. So really well done. Yeah, I mean Brian and I have worked some conventions over the years in all of our endeavors, and cosplay. No matter what the theme of the convention is, cosplay is part of it.
Yeah,
it's a big convention culture,
huge
cultural aspect, I guess I should say, and so for her to lean into that and have that much fun with it, and it's just, and here's the thing, and Joe Madden kind of begrudgingly said this recently. Players are a brand of their own, and that's good for the Paul Skeens brand.
Sure is,
and you can't hate on that. I mean, you can, but just go be miserable somewhere else. We don't subscribe to that way of thinking or living your life. This is fun, and it's good for the Paul Skeens brand. I'm not saying that's why they did it. I think she did it because she's funny and just wanted to be funny.
Yeah,
but yeah, just super cool. Not necessarily, not necessarily Players Weekend related directly, but we really liked it. And I wanted to mention it.
Yeah, definitely enjoyed it.
A couple more things here on the list. Christian Yelich, who I don't like.
Yeah, don't like him either.
But he had someone I do like on his bats, and that was Bob Uecker, Mr. Baseball.
Yes.
He had Bob Uecker bats, and that was really classy, which is one of the reasons I don't like Christian Yelich, because I don't think he's a classy dude.
Was it actually Bob Uecker, or was it his character from...
No, it was Bob.
Okay, because I saw a player had him, and he was his character from Major League.
Harry Doyle?
Harry Doyle.
Well, okay, so the Christian Yelich bats I saw said Mr. Baseball had Bob's picture on them, and then under that had some of the quotes.
Oh, okay.
Or maybe there was a second bat that was just like all the quotes all over the bat.
Okay.
So celebrating both, not just Harry Doyle the character, but Bob Uecker the actual baseball announcer. That's why he got cast in that role, because that's what he does. I thought that was really classy, and especially being the biggest star on the Milwaukee Brewers.
Yeah.
Bob is the guy there, and should be. Wonderful personality, and a guy that has made the game better.
Made the game more fun.
And there's another guy like that we'll talk about here in our next segment. But first, Brian, I wanted to wrap up Players Weekend with maybe the coolest bat we saw.
Yeah.
And that was Jackson Merrill, the rookie from the Padres, glow-in-the-dark lightsaber bat.
I know. That took the winning... That's the winner right there. Winner, chicken dinner. It's the one that stood out above the rest. It was great, man. I loved it.
Star Wars. if you ever watch Mad TV. No, it was super cool. The glow-in-the-dark aspect made it.
Sure did.
Because you turn the lights off and it looks like a lightsaber, and he's up there swinging a lightsaber.
Yeah.
And Brian's a big Star Wars geek.
Love the Star Wars, and it just fit right in, and I'd never seen anything like that before, so I was just loving it.
Brian carries Star Wars luggage.
Yeah. Yes, I do.
It's pretty fascinating to go places with him and see him being in a lot of rooms, the largest man in the room, and he's covered in tattoos, and he looks like the type of guy you didn't want to meet in a dark alley, and he has
Star Wars luggage.
He has Star Wars luggage. It looks like R2-D2 and the other one.
The C-3PO and the Rebel Alliance bags. Like if you really were in the Rebel Alliance, that's what their bags would look like.
Right. Yeah. So we really liked all that stuff from Players Weekend. Kudos to the league. This is like 4 weeks in a row we've given props to Major League Baseball.
Yeah, they're doing great with it.
But they deserve it because Players Weekend was awesome.
It was.
Made covering the game and following the game a lot more fun, even than it normally is, because it's a very fun thing, generally speaking. But man, we had a blast this weekend looking through all that and watching more games just to kind of see what we could see from Players Weekend.
Yeah, I love Players Weekend. I love it. I've loved it before, but I think they did a great job, and this was the best of the ones they've done.
And we didn't even talk about the Little League Classic at all.
Yeah,
which is always cool. Real quick before we move on, I saw Jazz Chisholm had met one of the young players and basically was like, "Yeah, I told him he's my little brother now, and I'm going to help him get to the big leagues."
Well, there you go.
And that's what those sorts of things are all about. Because these kids are playing on ESPN, but they're still just kids, man. Yeah. And a vast majority of them, maybe all of them, are going to do something other than play baseball for a living when they grow up.
Right.
So for him to latch on to one of these kids and say, "No, I'm going to help you get to the big leagues. I'm your big brother now," that was huge, and that's that's always fun to see. And I didn't watch the Little League Classic because I don't get in the habit of watching ESPN games that I don't have to.
Right. For the commentators?
It's not even the commentators. It's not them. I don't have a problem with Carl Ravitch or David Cohn or the other guy whose name's escaping me, Eduardo or whatever his name is. But I just, their coverage, I have a problem with ESPN having anything to do with Major League Baseball at all. So, we again, another topic for another day. That contract's coming up, so I'm sure the day will come where it's very appropriate to talk about the relationship between MLB and ESPN. But that's why I didn't watch the game largely outside of just time constraints. But I did see a lot of the highlights and the fun that the Yankees and the Tigers were having with the kids. And for a team the level of the Yankees to be involved in that, really cool. Aaron Judge, Juan Soto, Jazz Chisholm now. A lot of guys that these kids look up to. I mean, Jazz Chisholm was on the cover of the video game last year.
Yeah, he was.
And I remember 2 years ago we were talking about Jazz. I think when we were picking our All-Star picks, and I said, look, Harold Reynolds does a lot of work with youth baseball, and he got on TV and was like, look, these kids. You ask them, Jazz is their guy. Yeah. It's not Aaron Judge. It's not Juan Soto. It's Jazz Chisholm. Jazz Chisholm is the guy all these youth players want to be.
Look up to.
He's cool. He's really cool, He's got a cool name, and he's flashy, and,
on the game.
Yeah, man, he's on the cover of the game, and it was all bright and colorful and cool, and, and it's good that he's on the Yankees, because he's got a platform now, and he's already using it in a super positive way.
Yeah, for the well-being and good of all mankind.
Yeah, so good on Major League Baseball. Players Weekend was a rousing success, best we could tell, and yeah, man, it's something to look forward to for next year. Hopefully they'll bring it back on a regular basis.
Yeah, I agree,
and it stays. So the last thing we wanted to touch on today before we go on our merry way was we found out just yesterday. Great timing on his part because we're able to cover it when it's really, really topical. You may have noticed if you're watching us on YouTube, Brian has a Reds jersey on today, and that is just because Joey Votto has announced his retirement from baseball.
Yep.
We love Joey Votto.
Yeah, we do.
A lot of people do, and there's a reason for that. We talked about Bob Uecker being the type of person that has left baseball better than it was when he found it. Joey Votto is 100% that type of guy.
Yes.
The game is better for having had him. I saw a stat, because immediately everybody goes, is he a Hall of Famer? First off, the answer is yes.
Yes,
the question should be, is he a first ballot Hall of Famer? I saw something yesterday, and if this isn't accurate, don't attack me because it was just a tweet. But it claimed that if Joey Votto comes out of retirement and goes 0 for 477, he will still have a higher career on-base percentage than Tony Gwynn.
Wow, that's amazing stuff.
If that's not a Hall of Famer, I don't know what is anymore.
Exactly.
And again, we're not going to go down that road because that's something we're going to talk about in the offseason. And the back of that jersey Brian is wearing says number 14 Rose.
Yes.
So we're going to get into all that.
Yeah.
But Joey Votto is a Hall of Fame guy. He's a Hall of Fame player. And I'll miss him, Brian.
Yeah, I'll miss him too. He struggled with, being on the spectrum, and that was something that I looked up to. He went from, I don't want to deal with the fans. That's not a direct quote, but basically, I don't want to deal with the fans to, okay, I'm going to embrace this despite my situation. And dealt with the fans very lovingly, and he learned to do that. And that's a hard thing. I know. Mm-hmm. I know it's a hard thing to learn to be social when you have issues of being on the spectrum. So he was just so good, with the kids. And I saw that like I mentioned, that I did a photo shoot at the ballpark with him doing some kids and signing autographs for some kids. And he was just a great guy. Just took the time in the world, man. It was awesome.
Well, I saw a bunch of clips last night. Obviously, people's favorite moments or memorable moments of his, and one of those, speaking to what you're saying, was he was really good at TikTok. He got a TikTok and was like the best thing on TikTok.
Yeah.
And there was a little girl in the crowd at a game that held up a sign that said, "Joey Votto, will you make a TikTok with me?"
Yeah.
And they show him like showing her the dance moves and what to do, and then they shoot the TikTok. It's just, what a guy, man. And for me, the thing I saw that warmed my heart the most was, I guess he was injured or something, and he was in the booth in Cincinnati, and they were talking to him about the different dimensions and the different quirks of every ballpark. Mm-hmm. And, Cincinnati, that's a hitter's ballpark.
Yes, it is.
Pitchers hate that place.
Yeah, they tell you with that as part of the tour up there, that it's designed to be home run friendly.
Right. And he's talking about all these things, the wind in Wrigley and, all these different quirks. And the one of the announcers said, do you like that? And Joey said, I love it. Yeah. He's like, that's my favorite part of this, is that our game is so nuanced and so, unique compared to any other sport. Because here's the thing. Outside of the crowd noise being different, what's the difference in the playing field in NFL stadiums?
Right, nothing. What's
the difference in basketball courts in the NBA?
Yeah.
You're playing on a standard field that's the same all the time. Hell, Houston used to have a hill in straightaway center field. You know, the Polo Grounds in New York was like 7,000 feet to hit a home run.
Yeah,
I mean, and Coors Field with the thin air has the second largest outfield.
Yeah,
so there's just tons of green grass out there to just put a ball in. And that's why it's such an offensive park. The ball carries because of the thin air, but they've fixed some of that with the humidor and the baseballs. But there's still so much real estate out there. And for him to say that was like his favorite part of the game tells you what a baseball guy he is.
Because you're not just playing the other team, you're playing the park too.
100%. Well, and for me, that's one of the beauties of baseball is that it's the only team sport, because it is a team sport after all, that is also such an individual sport. Because at the crux of baseball, it's one guy with the ball and one guy with a bat.
Yeah.
And that it's one-on-one. But you're trying to win that one-on-one to help your team.
Yeah.
And then once that ball gets put into play, the team, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's a team sport, but there's also a lot of individual elements wrapped up in it. So, and Joey Votto, very clearly a next-level thinker. Whether that's being on the spectrum or just who he is as a person or some combination of both.
Right.
He thinks about things differently than the average Joe walking down the street.
Right. Yeah. I mean, he looks at everything completely different, and that probably helped him with his success.
Yeah. Apparently, when you get to first base and Joey Votto's playing first base, he will ask you some of the most random
Questions.
ridiculous questions. He loves talking about like space and
Yeah.
he don't want to talk about baseball when you get over there. He wants to talk about whatever's,
Do you think the moon landing was real?
Yeah, just like crazy shit. The autistic brain wants to talk about, not what the normal brain wants to talk about. So we say all that to say thank you, Joey Votto. We will miss you. We hope you still come around and are in the public eye some. Because we're very happy that we were around and got to see your career. 6-time All-Star, 2010 National League MVP, a Hall of Famer.
Yes, absolutely.
You don't even have to ask me because he's a Hall of Famer, and hopefully we'll get to see him in Cooperstown one day. I think we will, and I don't think it'll be that long of a wait for him.
Yeah,
honestly, because again, so much of that is wrapped up in. The writer's opinion of you personally.
Right.
Who's keeping him out because he's not a nice guy? You know? I mean, what a good dude and likable in every way and just, and as you said, made a big turn in that aspect of his career.
Yeah.
And that's great. So kudos on a great, I think, 17-year career.
Yeah, I think it was.
For Joey Votto, something in that ballpark. Didn't quite get to 20, but who does that these days?
Yeah.
Really great career, really fun to have around, and here, best part I think to the whole conversation, his last major league game, he got ejected.
Yeah, that's even great. That's it. I'm done, folks. We did it. That's it.
And in spring training, the first pitch he saw with the Blue Jays, he hit out.
Yeah,
and was headed back to the big leagues, and it just never happened for him, and that's the way it goes, the reality of it. But we love you, Joey Votto.
Yeah, definitely.
And thank you again for everything you've given the game, and we'll never forget it.
No, we never will. Thank you.
All right. With all that said, Brian, you got anything else you want to cover?
I just want to give a shout out to our guys over there in Germany. We see you. We want you to keep listening, and I appreciate you guys. So I hope you're listening this week.
If you are actually listening in Germany, Brian gets so excited every time we get a download from your country. So please keep it up, and feel free to shoot us a line.
Yeah, text us.
We have the technology. I mean, if you're listening, you know English, So if you're not good typing English, type it in German, and we'll translate.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'd love to hear from you. We want to know that there's interest in this game in other countries.
Yeah, that would be so cool to get a message from them.
That's fascinating. So please reach out. And if you're not in Germany, we want to hear from you too. I don't want to say that I don't want to hear from everybody.
No, we want to hear from everybody and all your opinions, good, bad, or indifferent.
Yeah, please tell us what you think. Get in touch with us. And I'm going to tell you how you can do that. Other than we now have the text us feature on whatever streaming platform.
Yes.
If you're on YouTube, there's always the YouTube comments. That you can utilize, or we're always on Twitter. The show is at 2GTB Pod. Brian is at 3 Crows Bry. I am at Dallas Danger. You can hit us up there. The store is at 2gtb.store. Patreon.com/2GTB. Those are the two best ways to support us financially, and there's links to those on the website, which is 2gtb.com. A little easier to remember. And, of course, subscribe wherever you're listening, or if you're watching on YouTube. We appreciate the subscription counts. Those help us out a lot. Helps us get the show out to more people. But, especially with YouTube, there's a lot we want to do that our subscriber count is limiting us from doing right now.
Yeah, if we can get that up, we want to go on location and do some live shots from there and, at some ballparks and stuff.
Yeah. All things we've talked about doing. We just need your help. And if you've already done those things, we love you and we appreciate you. And please spread the word. Tell your other friends that are into the game of baseball about 2GTB and what we're doing. And, we're not going anywhere this time.
No, we're staying.
We're here. We're here for the long haul. And that's why we're going through all the work to get all these things in place, get the website right, get on all these platforms, because we believe in what we're doing here, and we just love sitting here for an hour and a half every week and talking about baseball together.
Yeah, I mean, basically, this is what we do anyway. We just decided to record it.
That's literally where this podcast came from. Brian and I were on the phone one day, and I said, you know what we should do? Because we spend hours a week talking about baseball. Let's just sit down and do that and do it into microphones.
Absolutely.
And hit record and see what comes out. And we did one, and we were like, man, that was really great.
Yeah.
So we
we had fun.
Yeah, we have a blast doing this, and that's what it's all about for us, But at the end of the day, money makes things happen, and if you can support us financially, we really appreciate that. If you can't, we just appreciate you listening and subscribing and spreading the word a little bit. That's all it takes to make us happy is just have fun with us.
Yeah, just be there and give it a listen, and we're in this together.
That's right. And we will be back with more 2GTB in 7 days. For Brian, I'm Dallas.
We'll see you at the ballpark.